Good. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. All right. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Qadash. Double honor to the apostles, and that was a great millstone. And peace and salutations to the elect. All right. This is GMS Dallas. The LD Zach is here at the top. And then I'm the brother Aina. And we're just going to continue on to finish out the book of 1 Samuel. Okay. Basically, 1 Samuel is an account of the life of Samuel, the prophet, and the life of Saul. And we pretty much went throughout all of this book. And we're going to actually continue on into the second book of Samuel. It's called 2 Samuel. So it continues on in the history. And the reason why this is important is because it's not taught in our, in school. Like we learn Esau's history, self-proclaimed white man's history, but we don't learn our own history. And ultimately, this is the history that we should be taught as young children. If you have children, brothers I'm talking about in the truth, if you have children, I would encourage, you to teach your children these things, because we were supposed to teach our children back in the ancient world. We were supposed to teach our children the law, statutes, and commandments, okay, and perform the acts. And perform the acts of the law, right? Observing the high holy days, so that we could basically continue. I'll put my thing on do not disturb. Salakia, Zaquan.
It's all good.
President must be calling me. All right, so anyway, let's continue on. Let's actually go ahead and finish out this chapter. It's a short chapter, but before we start, I wanted to make a note. The book of First Chronicles, right? Let's pull that up real quick. First Chronicles is a book that goes into the history of our people. And basically, when you go into the first 9 chapters of the book of Chronicles, it's pretty much entirely lineage and genealogies, okay? And it talks about the genealogy of many important of our forefathers, up until that time. And basically, the book doesn't start from a historical context as far as a narrative perspective until chapter 10. And so I found it interesting that basically this chapter that we're going into now here in 1 Samuel is basically the beginning of the historical narrative context of First Chronicles. Okay, and it goes all the way throughout into Second Chronicles, all the way throughout to the carrying away of Babylon. But of course, you brothers can check this out on your own. But this is pretty much a parallel chapter, okay, to the chapter that we're reading today. So let's go ahead and get started. 1 Samuel chapter 31, verse 1. Okay, it says, "Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa." Okay, now let's pull up the map real quick. And basically, when we went into the lesson last week, we showed the valley of Jezreel right here, which was where the war between the Philistines and the Israelites were fought in Jezreel. Okay, the valley of Jezreel. And you can see here, and I know this is pixelated, but if you brothers, can see, you can see it says Mount Gilboa, which is basically, in the valley of Jezreel, you have Mount Gilboa, which is basically a in the same area, I'll say. All right, so continuing on, it says the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, meaning they lost the battle, okay, and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. Okay, and this isn't the first time that the Lord allowed the Philistines to triumph over Israel, man. The Lord basically allowed Israel to lose a battle when basically we were going off, when the Lord was not with us. Okay, and this is a part of our history that the Lord told us, if you don't follow, if you don't follow the Lord's commandments and his laws and his statutes, he's not going to be with you in war. Okay. And so in verse 2, it says, and the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan and Abinadab and Malchishua, Saul's sons.
Now, when Saul went to the witch to go get in contact with Samuel, what did Samuel tell him? Those sons are finna come sit by me. Y'all finna come sit by me. You know what I'm saying? Now keep in mind, and we always want to go through this history, explain in the context what was going on, and then also be able to show how these things are applying today in the spirit. You see, when you get into this book, 1 Samuel 31, going into 2 Samuel 1, it goes into that civil war amongst Israel. You see? Now, while Israel is fighting amongst each other, did our enemies stop and chill and was like, look, they got it? No. They jumped in too.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happened in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You got the house of Saul today. You got the house of David today. Ain't nobody claiming to be the house of Saul. Right? Ain't nobody claiming to be the house of Saul. Look at this house of Saul up here, fool. No. Everybody want to be the house of David, but everybody ain't a part of that house.
Yep.
You see?
Yep.
Just you gonna see the difference between what did he say? He said it's better to obey than sacrifice.
Yes.
You see? So it's only one doctrine out there, and you can't change it up just because your pussy hurting.
Man.
I'm gonna say that again. Just because your box is itching don't mean you can change the doctrine. You see? The house of David is going to obey. The house of Saul is going to rebel. But they still are Israelites. And the Lord set those two houses up to clash for his purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. You notice nobody wants to claim the house of Saul, even though the house of Saul is here running rampant through Israel.
Yep.
In Babylon showing y'all whole ass. But it's cool. It's cool. Our job is to point these things out and trust in the Lord for the rest.
Yep. Let me pull up this.
Miss you, brother.
Man, Matthew 23, because basically the Pharisees, they were saying that that they were righteous unto themselves, right? And that couldn't have been anything farther from the truth. You know what I'm saying? This is Matthew chapter 23, verse 31. It says, wherefore, matter of fact, I'm sorry, let me start at verse 29. Matthew 23 and 29, it says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would have not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets.
That's what I'm saying. Don't nobody want to be the house of Saul, bro. Don't nobody want to be the house of Saul. Don't nobody want to be the scribes and Pharisees, even though you got righteous ones and wicked ones.
Yeah.
You see? And you starting to see all these emotions spill out over YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We get caught up in it too. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't finna sit up here and act like these hoe ass niggas don't be pissing me off. But at the end of the day, edification can come from it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And if you can't find edification in what they doing, just fall back and let the other brothers go in. Because you got to still stay in order.
Yeah.
You still got to stay in order. So when you see the actions of the house of Saul versus the actions of the house of David, you can see who it is based on the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you mad don't make you the house of David, bro.
Man.
Go ahead.
Yep. It says, verse 30, it says, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Man. So again, that says a lot, man, because people, you don't really know what you've done in the past, man. You know, like That's why we pray to Yahawashi for mercy, you know. And as the elder said, you know, it was pretty evident from the persecution that Yahawashi was receiving from these men that they were persecutors of the prophets. Okay. It says, verse 31, wherefore be ye witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets.
That's what I'm saying. That applies to somebody, man.
Yep.
That applies to somebody.
Yep.
You see? Now, you do have prophets of the house of David. You do have prophets of the house of Saul. But that's what I'm saying. The scriptures don't talk about the house of Saul standing stiffly. They talk about the house of David doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We done went through the history of how Saul dropped the ball every time he got a chance.
Man.
Throwing picks, fumbling on the goal line, just stupid shit.
Yeah, kind of. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Every time he acted out, it was because he panicked instead of praying. These niggas haven't prayed to the Heavenly Father. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Bro, we know y'all. Well, a couple of you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where the fuck you other niggas came from. Man. You know? Came with fucking Ninja Turtle ass prophets. You know, niggas came straight up out the sewage.
Hey,
talking about who gonna get destroyed and all that. But that's what I'm saying. That's what the house of Saul was doing with the house of David. They throwing javelins at us. You know what I'm saying? They throwing javelins at us. But it's cool. It's cool. Because at the end of the day, you can't do nothing against the truth. You can only do something for it. Go ahead, bro.
Con, last verse 32, it says, fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. See? So everybody's in their lot in these last days, man. Esau is in his lot. Okay, the 2/3 are in their lot. That's why the scriptures say, let the wicked be wicked still. Let the filthy be filthy still. Let the righteous be righteous still. The elect are in their allotted a position in these last days, man. Okay?
That's right. I'm going to pull this from the comment board. The brother Atha in Wisconsin. Shalom, Mark. All right, this is Matthew 7:15. It says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruit. Do men gather grapes of thorns and figs of thistles? Now, look at Mr. Mississippi, and look at his crew now. You see, you'll know them by their fruits. He know us. Them other niggas don't. Mm-hmm. But whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 17, it says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. You see? Yelling and screaming at the camera don't make you in the spirit.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. We yell and scream too. But that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you got to realize, do you believe in what you're saying wholeheartedly, or are you just mad? We believe what we're saying wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. And then I'll let them, you know, I mean, fuck, we got eyes. You hit record.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. Let's go, bro.
My bad, select it. All right, going back to 1 Samuel chapter 31 and verse 3. It says, and the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him. And that's what's
gonna happen in the spirit to his house. Mm-hmm. That's what's gonna happen. Bro, we got enemies surrounding us on all sides. You know what I'm saying? And you got one group of Israelites that's gonna help them destroy us and then get destroyed in the process. But the thing is, we already know this gonna come. So we trusted in the Lord at this point because we know we don't got the numbers. We know we don't got the weaponry. We know we don't got the carnality that these motherfuckers possess. So we're going to have to put this in the hands of the Lord. Lord, you said this was going to happen. You said we was going to have to go through this. We believe you wholeheartedly. What you want us to do next, Lord? Where you want us to stand, Lord? Who you want us to tie up, Lord? Lord, what do you want us to do? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. You got this saying in the world, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You don't just do shit and think it's going to be cool. No. We asking the Lord, what you want us to do? We're not just out there acting on a whim and then the Lord got me. No, that's called tempting the Lord. And he will fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Saul constantly did. Saul and his house continued to tempt the Lord. And that's why his house ended, man. But it was for the Lord's purpose, though. So even at the end of the day, man, y'all lying, talking about people stealing money and being rapists and being pedophiles and all that. That's what I'm saying. We're going to give you a big-ass hug in the kingdom. Yep. Y'all ain't talking about us being in the kingdom, all united and all that. Nigga, you mad now.
Yep.
Go ahead, bro.
Come on. All right, continuing on, it says in verse 4, then said Saul unto his armor bearer, draw thy sword and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. Okay, it says, but his armor bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna come a point. It's gonna come a point where you're gonna be hit with reality, man. Saul was hit with reality. He said, damn, man, the Lord really ain't dealing with me no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And once he found, it came to a point. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with all these other guys. There's gonna come a point where thus saith the Lord is gonna hit you in the face so hard, man. You see, we all gonna have to deal with. That's why the fear of the Lord is important, man. David feared the Lord. Saul feared every fucking body else.
Yep.
Go ahead, bro.
Yep. It says, and you know that Jonathan was Saul's son because he was dissing the Philistines. Like basically the Philistines were looked at as scum, even when he was pretty much dying from the hand of the Philistines. He looked at the Philistines like, man, fuck that. I ain't gonna let it be said that a Philistine killed me with a sword. Nah, hell no. I'm just gonna fall upon my own sword, And so even though Saul was, bugged out and getting judged, even to the hour of his death, he still understood that the heathen are beneath him, man. But even our people in these times, they don't think that basically they measure up to these other nations.
I was like, bro, Saul falling on his sword ain't no different than Judas hanging himself.
Right.
It's gonna come a certain point where you're gonna know, you know what, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's over.
Yep.
And it went on from there.
Yep.
Saul got replaced, Judas got replaced, and the will of the Lord continued.
That's right.
Let's go.
All right. It says, verse 5, and when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. Oh, well, we can get that. The blind lead the blind. Both shall fall into the ditch.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only reason why his armor bearer died, because he's following a demon, basically. Matthew 15 and 13, it says, but he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father hath not planted shall be rooted up. See, so the Lord basically disowned Saul, and Saul got uprooted, right? And it says, verse 14, let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. You see, but they be so proud to be leaders of the blind. If it was actually exposed that you're a leader of the blind, it wouldn't be as honorable. You wouldn't be getting as much praise if everybody knew that, okay, yeah, you following these people, but they're blind. So they don't know if you lead them in the right direction.
Right.
You see? So it's not really that great of an accolade, but to the blind, shit, it looks like a great guy. Yeah, he's our leader.
Yep, that ditch gonna be full.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was and the Lord is so cold with it. I would say the Lord will throw you in the ditch first and have you laying in the ditch face up to where you can see all the people you led to fall on top of your damn ass.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. You got to fear the Lord, man.
Yep.
You see, the reason why we rebuke and reprove the way that we do is because the scriptures say do it, and the Lord said it's gonna be blood on our hands if we don't.
Good.
So we fear the Most High, not men. Yeah, you could make a video about me and say I did this or say I did that. But at the end of the day, the works that the Lord put the Spirit on us to do is what's going to reign at the end. Yep. You ain't gonna be able to say Yatazak did a goddamn thing to you in the day of judgment, and it's gonna matter.
Yep.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And Lord willing, I haven't offended nobody to the point to where, you know what I'm saying? But if I have, then I got to repent because it's gonna be revealed to me if I went off.
Yep.
So I have that opportunity. That's the difference between the house of David and the house of Saul, man. You see? Having that contrite spirit, I would say, it was a few months ago. You know what I'm saying? A dude did a video on me, and I repented. You know what I'm saying? Even though he had his points, but it wasn't about me arguing back and forth. It was about him being offended by something I did, and not me getting in my feelings to be like, well, what about you? Or what about this? Or what about that? No. Mm-hmm. Hey, if I offended you, I won't do that shit no more. Haven't done it since. Lord willing, it won't happen again. But that's what I'm saying. That was something small. You see? They never want to correct you about the doctrine. Never. They want to find little carnal chinks in your armor that we are willing to admit that we have and just run with it. Mm-hmm. That's some Saul ass shit. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
You don't got the fruits of the spirit. Even though I wasn't there, but I caught on to the joke. Matthew chapter 15, verse 14. It says, let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if they be, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta follow these instructions, man.
Okay.
People act like it's not. Matter of fact, get that one baptism, one doctrine. Pull that real quick.
Yeah.
Because it's only one. The Lord said that I gave everything that my Father gave me to my disciples. His doctrine wasn't mixed with all kind of other stuff. No. It was pure. It is pure. You see? I would say the spirit of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi and the truth of these scriptures is tahar. Mm-hmm. Pure. That's what tahar means. It means pure. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, let me see. Okay, verse 4. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 4. It says, there is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in hope, in one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one power and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all.
Now look up one.
Okay.
Look up the word one.
All right. That word one in the Greek, Strong's H 1520. It says eis, I believe, or eis, something like that.
Let our slaves say it. Fuck it.
Oh yeah. Probably east.
It's better to eat pork than speak Greek, and we ain't gonna do neither one.
Nice.
Oh, okay, I got it wrong.
Yeah, that's why I said we don't speak that shit.
Okay, so it says one. Let's see.
That's it.
Yeah,
one. That's the point.
Yeah.
And that one thing don't change because I get mad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I've been rebuked I can't count how many times I've been rebuked in the past 14, 15 years.
Man.
But that's what I'm saying. I wasn't perfect coming into this thing. So when you do go off and you reproved and rebuked about it, that gives you the opportunity to correct it and repent.
God.
That's what I'm saying. You don't get to just leave because you don't, bro. You was told that you was going off because you was. That's what I'm saying. Samuel told Saul that he was going off because Saul was going off.
Yep.
He wouldn't have told him that if he wasn't.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. So when it come rebuking and back and forth and all that old shit, no. That's what I'm saying. A lot of you guys don't use the scriptures once you get mad. You throw it behind your back. You know what I'm saying? That's just like how Nick getting his ass whooped in a fight. And all of a sudden he want to kick you in your nuts or gouge you in your eyes. First of all, we're just boxing. How you gonna kick me? You can't kick a nigga in boxing. Man. But I guess if you getting your ass kicked enough, you'll bite a nigga ear off.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. You resort to these low blows and this slander and all this other stuff. Look, all we told you is that we ain't in the new covenant yet because Yahawashi ain't back according to the scriptures. And look what it did to your ass. Look what it did to you. Turn your ass into a pumpkin at midnight.
Man.
Go ahead, bro.
Con. Let me see. Actually, that was the point I believe you wanted in
read verse 7.
Yeah, okay, Con. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 7. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Mashiach.
That's what I'm saying. The grace according to what was Yahawashi gave us. Mm-hmm. You see? Here it is. Y'all out there changing the name, but you won't tell nobody what it is.
Man.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Grace? Grace? Really? We not under grace right now, bro? Okay. Fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, Con. Verse 8, it says, wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men.
That's what I'm saying. And those gifts that were given are for the congregation. You see? It wasn't given to us individually so we can destroy ourselves. No. That was you look. This is the Lord's program. Period. Point blank. The sooner you can wrap your head around that, the better off you're gonna be.
Con.
Go ahead.
Con. You want me to go back to that?
That was it on that.
Okay. All right. This is going back to 1 Samuel. Let me see here. 1 Samuel chapter 31 and verse 5. Okay. It says, and when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor bearer, and all his men that same day together. You see?
That's what I'm saying. And all that came through disobedience and panic and being scared when the Lord told you he was with you.
Yep.
When Yahawashi said that we was with him in the beginning and that he gonna be with us until the end, we believe it.
Yep. That's right.
Go ahead.
Con. And if I may make a point since we've finished that scene, it was spiritual how the Lord led David away from that battle so that David will be blameless and his men will be blameless in that scenario. They didn't have to, put forth their hands, because remember, Achish was going to go, have David basically and his men fight in the war with the Philistines against, and David was with it. It wasn't like, nah, those are my countrymen. And David was like, shit, fuck it.
I'm gonna say it even said it that David was like, shit. David was like you said, he was ready.
Yep.
Like it is what it is. Now he mentioned that he wasn't gonna do nothing to Saul, but he was willing to fight against his people.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and the Lord corrected. The Lord was like, nah, like you said, nah,
Yep.
Yep. You said you was gonna leave this in my hands. I would say, David, you said you was gonna leave this in my hands. It's in my hands. I'm gonna put you over here. Go ahead.
Man, Con. Verse 7. It says, and when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, okay, so let's go back to the map. We got to keep it spiritual. The other side of the valley, right? So this is the valley here. Okay. So the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, meaning to the right of the valley, okay, when they saw, it says, when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side Jordan, also the other side Jordan, which is the common phrase on the other side Jordan is talking about to the east of the Jordan River, which flows through the land of Israel. So you have, this is the, majority of the land, right? The northern and the southern kingdom. And then you have the Jordan River that flows through, okay? Flows through all the way through the land. This river here flows all the way through the land to the Salt Sea, okay? And so the men that were on the east side of the river saw that the men that were fighting in the valley, where I'm at, hold on. They were fighting in the valley were fleeing, okay? Oh, here we go. Sorry, it was up here. When the men on the east side of the river saw that the men that were on the west side of the river coming out of the valley of Jezreel were fleeing eastward away from the Philistines who were coming and pushing them eastward. When the men over here in Gilead saw that the men of war of Israel were fleeing, right? This is what happened. It says, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. So what ended up happening is, going back to the map, when these men over here on the east side of the Jordan River saw that the armies of Israel, because this was no small battle, this wasn't like a little tiny little skirmish, this was a big time battle, man. Okay, you gotta remember, all of the kings of the Philistines gathered themselves together. You know what I'm saying? From Ziklag all the way up to Ashdod, Ashkelon, Joppa, right? They all met, you know, and they came down and they fought here in the valley of Jezreel. Okay, and Philistines prevailed, which caused the men that were dwelling in these cities on the east side of Jordan to flee their cities, to the point where the Philistines came in and inhabited those cities. So this was a lot of moving parts going on. Okay, and it says in verse 8, and it came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. Okay, so going back to the valley of Jezreel, Mount Gilboa is over here. The ones that were coming to take the spoil, they saw Saul and they found Saul and his 3 sons. Okay, it says in verse 9, and they cut off his head and stripped off his armor and sent into the land of the Philistines round about to publish it in the house of their idols and among the people. And this is a judgment that basically this is a dishonorable death, and also what happens with your body can also be dishonorable. When you die, you just want to be buried. That's it. But not only did Saul fall by the sword, okay, he didn't get buried right the traditional way, and he got his head cut off, and they put his head and his body in the house of idols, the other nations. I'll say the Philistines specifically, right? And let me see here.
I said, imagine what they would have done to him if he didn't kill himself.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? They did all that to a dead body. His spirit was back in the spirit world and everything, and they still went hard.
Yep. Oh, I'm gonna get that the commentary that you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here.
So technically, at the end of the day, the Lord had mercy on Saul. You know what I'm saying? Yep. He didn't put him in the hands of the Philistines. Keep going. You got it.
Con. Yep. This is actually, I'm not get too ahead of myself here.
Because for all the things that Saul did, the Lord could have easily just let the Philistines have his way with him.
Yep.
You see? But at the end of the day, like King David said, Saul was his anointed. So the Lord looked out for him at the end of the day, which is more proof. You know what I'm saying? That you don't go to hell. You know what I'm saying? You do come back. The Lord is merciful. So you see all these different things. You know what I'm saying? The Lord didn't do nothing wrong. Saul kept fucking up. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. This is a Bridgeway commentary. I'm going to read this paragraph. It says, meanwhile, farther north, because we went into the last week in chapter 30, how David prevailed against the raided Amalekites and got the possessions back. That was farther south into the country. Okay, so this is going back to the battlefield north. Okay, that we just read. It says the battle between Israel and the Philistines was raging. Overcome by the attackers, the Israelites fled. Saul's sons were killed, and Saul himself was wounded. Knowing the cruel and shameful treatment that he would receive if the enemy captured him, Saul took his own life. Okay, so that's what ended up happening. Saul took his own life. He fell on the sword. Okay, that's how he died. Okay, it says the enemy therefore dishonored his dead body instead. Okay, yeah, getting your head cut off and put on a stake or whatever, that's like a very dishonorable. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like you bragging that you got somebody that you killed. So that's what happened to John John the Baptist, man. They cut off his head, you know what I'm saying, and put it on a platter. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. So that's dishonorable, you know. But even though John the Baptist was a righteous man, he had a death that, you know, basically showed how much these other nations hate us, man.
And that's the thing. Esau, this nigga will tell you that just chopping your head off is an honorable death. You know what I'm saying? But when they chop your head off, they keep your organs. So even when a nigga try to say he doing something good, it's still messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, go ahead.
Yeah, you're supposed to, the way to put somebody to death is stoning, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how the Lord did it. You stone somebody. You know what I'm saying? Set them in their own grave. You know? But anyway, it says, which I don't know which one's worse, but, you know, that's how we did it. You know what I'm saying? That's how the Lord told us to do it.
No, all right. Look, even if you hang somebody, you don't leave a fucking body up there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It's order even when it comes to putting somebody to death.
Yep.
It's order to everything, man.
Con.
Go ahead.
Con. It says, knowing the cruel, oh, actually, I read that already. It says, the enemy therefore dishonored his dead body instead, but the men of Jabesh Gilead, remembering that Saul had once saved them from shameful treatment by their enemies, rescued his body and gave him an honorable burial.
That's what I'm saying. So some of his good works end up helping him out in the end.
Yep.
You see, that work that he did based on these brothers right here, he ended up getting a proper burial. Why? Because he's the Lord's anointed. He wasn't just going to leave him out there like that.
Yep.
He didn't put him in the hands of the Philistines. He didn't let them completely destroy him.
Yep.
And that's what the same thing is going to happen with his house. The 2/3 go come back.
Yep. That's right.
Go ahead.
Yep. It's going to be order. Okay. Verse 12. It says, oh, I'm sorry, verse 11. I skipped it. Verse 10, actually. It's lucky. All right. It says, for 1 Samuel 31:10, and they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, okay, which is modern day Semiramis, which is modern day Virgin Mary. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they put his armor in the house of Ashtaroth, and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan.
Look up the word fastened.
Okay. Word fastened is Strong's H 8628. The Kwai. It says, let me see here, to blow, to strike, to clap, to thrust, to sound, to give a blow, to blast. So yeah, like it reminds me of the scene of what was that in Game of Thrones? You know, I can't remember the name of that king at the time. You know, I don't know if he was a king or if he was like an honorable man. You know, at the end of season 1, he ended up getting his head chopped off.
Ned Stark.
Yeah, Ned Stark. Yeah, I really liked him. I was like, damn, they killed that man. You know, he basically, in the beginning of season 2, you know what I'm saying? Like they showed like basically his head on a stake, like on a wall, you know what I'm saying, as public display, but it was a dishonorable thing, you know? So they basically fastened his head, you know what I'm saying, to a spear and put it on the wall.
Now think about this. Did not Saul try to do that to David? He tried to fasten David to the wall with that javelin.
Man. Yep. Thrust him through. And try to thrust him through. I wonder if that.
And that's what I'm saying. David's spirit was still in his body when Saul tried to pull that. Mm-hmm. That's what Saul's spirit is already gone. He's sitting with Samuel. You know? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. A whole lot of things that Saul did came back, good and bad.
Man. Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Go ahead.
It says, all the valiant men arose and went all night and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan. You know, it says and went and came to Jabesh and burnt them there. Okay, so they took the bodies of Saul's sons, and Saul himself off the wall. You know what I'm saying? of Bashan, which is a Philistine, territory at the time. And they took them back to their city and burnt their bodies, you know what I'm saying? Back in Jabesh Gilead. It says, and they took their bones and buried them under a tree at Jabesh and fasted 7 days. You see? So those men, those were not men of Belial. Those were righteous men, because even though Saul was deemed, in general, a man that did evil in the sight of the Most High, there were certain things that Saul did in his life that were righteous, and one of those things was, basically one of his first acts as king when it comes to a military campaign. Basically he defended that city, Jabesh Gilead, from the heathen, and those men that were still alive, they remembered that, so that's why they did that,
And that's what I said. The scriptures talk about you not being buried and not being mourned.
Yes.
That didn't happen to Saul. Here you go, right here. They buried his bones. They rescued his body. They buried his bones. They fasted 7 days to mourn him.
Mm-hmm.
You see? See, man, y'all gonna quit playing with the Lord's mercy, man. I would say even though Saul went off, the Lord still had mercy because that's his people. That's his chosen, man. You see? So we fine, we get it. We got to argue on this go round. Guess what? Spiritual Dukes is up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, we'll say like David told Saul, look, at the end of the day, the Lord gonna judge both of us. You see? The Lord gonna judge both of us. That's just the way it's set up. I don't know how else to tell you, but everybody think they right.
Yep.
Everybody think they right, but it's not based on faith though. You see? We believe that we doing what we're doing through faith. You see? And it's clear that everybody else is doing what they doing off envy and strife and anger and hurt and pissed offness.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Because shit, you wasn't on fire like this your last 4-5 years in the camp. You started out strong, but that's what I'm saying. You started to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And now look what you're surrounded by. Yeah, now look what you're surrounded by. Go ahead, bro.
Con, yep. Yeah, I found it pretty interesting how they fasted 7 days, over Saul's death, again showing that respect, that they had, for Saul, and even like what I'm saying, like if some some people that we may have butt heads with in the past, what I'm saying, that they once were with us, if something crazy happened to them, what I'm saying, like we're not always just going to be jumping and shouting for joy, what I'm saying, like sometimes that's not the spirit to be in, when what I'm saying, like you had for example, when people thought that, High Priest Ariah, something happened to him, you had individuals, they wasn't lamenting, they wasn't mourning, they wasn't showing any sort of lamentation, and that's not the spirit to be in, man, and so, just keeping that in mind, like, it's not always, the scriptures say that the angels rejoice when one comes to repentance. So when one gets put to death, because of their wickedness, yeah, it's better than them staying alive, but really it's still a sense of you kind of wish that they didn't have to go through that, But
and
anyway,
that's another thing. You see, when you see these guys after the Lord take the spirit off of them, you are like, oh shit,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You are taken aback by it.
Yeah,
because you remember when you met these brothers. You remember when you spent time with them. You remember fellowship and bringing it out, drinking with them and playing dominoes and all that shit.
Yeah.
Right? You remember all that. Now all of a sudden you the worst thing going because he fucked up. But whatever. Whatever, man. A man that can't hold himself accountable, a man that can't look himself in the mirror, examine thyself.
Mm-hmm.
After you get reproved and rebuked, that's when you examine yourself. And you come to the conclusion, okay, well, I don't need to do that no more. Or I don't want to feel that heat no more. You know what I'm saying? The fear of the Lord is increased through reproof and rebuke.
Okay.
And a man that can't be reproved or rebuked, that's what I'm saying. That's a man that ain't gonna make it. That's what the scripture say. That ain't my opinion. That's the truth. Go ahead.
I got precept. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "Let us therefore fear, okay, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it." You know, we want to be, like the elder said, constantly examine ourselves, letting us have reverence and fear towards Yahawashi, because we could be of that number, right? Like, for example, in the wilderness, you know, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, all of their house and everything that pertained unto them, you know, got swallowed up. You don't think that that struck fear in the hearts of the others that said, damn, that could have been us, you know, if we were deceived by Korah's, you know, swindling words, saying, hey, you know, I'm on Moses' level too. Y'all, we don't only gotta, you know, what's up with this Moses? Why y'all worshiping Moses so much? We just the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord dealing with us, you know, on a level, dealing with us on a higher level. It's like people don't take into account, you know, what could happen to them when they make those accusations, man.
Right.
You know, so we all should be fearing, you know, because a lot of judgment is going out right now. Okay. So we're gonna kind of flow through this 2 Samuel chapter 1. It's a little longer, but it's more narrative. So I'm gonna just go ahead and read a few verses. This is 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1. It says,
it's cool if we don't get it all in this one sitting. We can just pick it up.
Yeah, because it's kind of like half. It's kind of like split in half. So we'll get it.
Right.
We'll get like half of it. At least it says, now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, because we got to remember back what happened in chapter 30 of 1 Samuel. You know, the Lord delivered the Amalekites into David's hands. Okay, and he was able to recover all of that which he lost. And it says, when David returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag, right? So he had just got done, you know, dealing with this stuff. And see, a lot of times, man, you know, stuff may be happening back to back in our lives, and we may be wary, like, damn, you know, like, hold on, okay, I just got done celebrating a victory 2 days ago. Now, you know, on Saturday, I caught a W, right? And then Monday to come around, and it's like another issue comes up. Like, damn, you don't even get the chance to really enjoy that, you know, like, you know what I'm saying, that victory. And,
right.
you know, and so it says in verse 2, and it came to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent and earth upon his head. And so it was, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth and did obeisance. Okay. And so it says in verse 3, and David said unto him, from whence comest thou? Right. So David saw this random, you know, dude come from the camp of Saul with, you know, dust on his head. He was obviously lamenting, you know what I'm saying? It says in verse 3, and he said unto him, out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. Okay. And it says in verse 4, and David said unto him, how went the matter? Right? Because David, you know, he was going to fight in that war. So David wanted to know, like, what happened? Who won? Like, you know, it says in the middle of verse 4, I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, that the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan, his son, are dead also. You see? So this was the report that that the man that fled out of the camp of Israel gave David. It says in verse 5, and David said unto the young man that told him, how knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan, his son, be dead? Right? It says in verse 6, and the young man told him that said, as I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. Okay. And by the way, basically to clear it up for you brothers, what this young man is saying, he wasn't telling the truth to David, but we're going to expound on that. Just letting y'all know that this was basically a lie that he told David, right? So I'll read verse 6 again. It says, and the young man that told him said, as I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me and called unto me. And I answered, here am I. And he said unto me, who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. Now, this was true. The young man, he was an Amalekite, which is, an Edomite of the tribe of Amalek. Okay, but this scenario didn't play out. In reality, he was fibbing about, this whole thing with him and Saul, basically.
He pretty much put 100 on 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some of it was true, some of it wasn't.
Yeah.
He embellished. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that he was gonna come out in good favor, in good standing by saying what he said regarding Saul and his death, knowing about the beef between Saul and David.
Right.
You see, he thought he was doing himself a favor.
It says in verse 9, and he said unto me again, stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head and the bracelet that was on his arm, and have brought them hither unto my Lord. It says, and then David took on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all men that were with him. Right. So David didn't want to hear this news. Remember, David, he was the same David that did not want to kill Saul when he had the opportunity. Right. He spared Saul multiple times when his life was when Saul's life was in David's hands. See? And David had a relationship with Saul, man. They had history going all the way back to 1 Samuel 17. You know what I'm saying? With David and Goliath. Then, you got to remember he got 100 or 200 foreskins of the Philistines, for Saul's daughter. He was married to Saul's daughter. He was best friends with Saul's son, Jonathan. Right. So David didn't want to hear that Saul was dead. Okay. And he believed, what the Amalekite told him. Okay, so it says in verse 12, and they mourned and wept and fasted until even for Saul and Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. Okay, just like when Eli heard the news, of Israel losing the battle, he fell off the back of his chair and broke his neck. He was so shocked, he was an old man, but David was, he was shocked to hear, and he mourned. He mourned Saul, and he mourned the death of the Israelites, okay, that died in that war. In verse 13, and it says, and David said unto the young man that told him, whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. Okay,
that's what I'm saying. So here it is, King David. Well, not king yet, but David was like, I'm not going to touch the Lord's anointed. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what's going on. I'm just not going to be able to do that one. And then here comes some Amalekite, some Edomite talking about he touched the Lord's anointed. Get him out of here.
Yep.
Done. Go ahead.
Right. Yep. Verse 14, it says, and David said unto him, how was thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And the answer is because Esau doesn't have any reverence towards that which is holy. That's what the scriptures say, give not that which is holy unto dogs. You're not supposed to cast your pearls before the swine. You see, trying to break down the scriptures to these other nations. These are holy things, and it shows you that the other nations don't have any regard for those things that are separate and sanctified. Okay. And so it says in verse 15, and David called one of the young men and said, go near and fall upon him. And he smote them that he died. Okay. So that dude got himself killed by telling that story. Okay. That Amalekite talking about. It says in verse 16, and David said unto him, thy blood be upon thy head, and for thy mouth hath testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. Even though he actually didn't. Even though that Amalekite didn't actually, he wasn't the one to deliver the final blow, like he said. He like the elder said, he embellished on the truth. Yeah, Saul died, but he wasn't the one to kill him. But he went back to David and told him that he did, so he could try to get some type of reward or some type of clout. And he was like, look, these are his bracelets. This is his stuff. Look, see, I didn't know what to do, thinking that David was just some wicked man that wanted Saul dead. That's what everybody else thought, because they didn't know David.
That's fast forward to today. That's the same thing they think about us, because we reprove and we rebuke. They think that we hate them. No. Get Romans 11:28 real quick.
Okay.
I would say this is the Lord's program. And that's what I'm saying. When you go out throughout our history, Israel was always fighting amongst Israel. Why? Because we went off as the sons of God. We got cursed. Right? We got delivered out of Egypt. We made the covenant. We broke it. You remember Israel fighting against Benjamin? You remember the kingdom of Israel being ripped into two separate kingdoms? Like, nigga, it makes sense that we arguing now. Ain't nothing new under the sun.
Man.
That's what, but through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, we understand that. The people that we arguing with don't. And it's all good. I'll be right back, bro.
All right. Yep, I'm going to get this. Romans chapter 11, verse 28. It says, as concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. Okay? So we're just experiencing this thing as characters in the story, man. You have antagonists, which are the bad guys, and you have the protagonists, which are the good guys of the story. Okay? And so concerning the good news, concerning the good news of our salvation, they are the protagonists. They are the enemies for the sake of the elect, basically having to be able to continually push out that word. Okay, and you're going to have other individuals that are going to be opposing that, right? Antichrist, anti-Messiah energy, right? Opposing the doctrine of Yahawashi. Okay, but that keeps the movie going. That keeps that constant energy flowing, and that encourages us to put out more videos, to go harder when we see these other people going off. Okay, we see things that are happening in wickedness, where Esau's continuing forth his agenda, right? That makes us go harder for the truth, right? It says, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sakes. Okay, so the elect are loved, man. The elect, even though they're hated in the amongst the world, okay, we are loved, man. Okay, as a body, and ultimately the whole nation of Israel, when everything's set up properly and in order, then hey, the house of Saul, right, and the house of David, we all going to be under the new covenant. Okay, talking about in the kingdom. But as of right now, there is that friction, and we are enemies to the wicked. Okay, just like how they're enemies to us, we're enemies to them.
Bro, imagine the unity in the kingdom, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If we are of the elect, and the guys that we are in the 2/3, you see, it's everybody in the kingdom gonna remember. You know what I'm saying? When they talk about the rest of the nation coming back through the elect and all these different things, that's what I'm saying. These dudes right now, that it look like we bumping their heads and it look like Israel hate each other and all that, to the rest of the world, what's really happening is the will of the Lord is being played out.
Okay.
To the point to where all of us are gonna be united in the kingdom. You see, it ain't gonna be no nigga. I remember back in that third or fourth, during the time of the Babylonians, you was a whole ass nigga. During the time of the Persians and the Medes, you was a whole ass nigga. During the Greco-Roman Empire, you was a whole ass nigga, and you a whole ass nigga now. Ain't gonna be none of that in the kingdom.
Nah.
Ain't gonna be none of that in the kingdom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If anything, you're gonna have a conversation. Man, you remember when the Lord took his spirit off us and all us was going off? Call Halal Yahawah Yahawashi for his will being fulfilled. And here we are all together. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be spiritually happy.
Yep.
Not this makeshift, get your lick back. I'm gonna get my glory through this type of means.
Mm-hmm.
All that's gonna be gone. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
call Halal Yahawashi for that understanding. You see? As much as you might want to take an Israelite and just snatch his ears off and kick him in the lip, all that's gonna be gone, man. All that's gonna be gone. We don't want them dudes to be destroyed, but we know that according to the scriptures, it's a strong possibility if you don't repent.
Yep.
You ain't gonna be able to say you didn't know. And if we're wrong, we're not gonna be able to say it either. You know what? The Lord did say I guess we are in the new covenant. If we wrong, we gonna know. And if we right, we gonna know.
Con. I gotta
the Lord ain't leaving nothing unanswered. No. You just gotta be around to get the understanding of it. Go ahead.
Yep. This is Sirach chapter 8, verse 7. It says, rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we die all.
Now that clearly got to be talking about Israelites.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it tells us to rejoice over the heathen.
Right. Yep.
That's why David didn't rejoice over Saul being killed. He actually avenged him because the nigga lied.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Man.
That's what I'm saying. Rejoice not over the greatest enemy being dead. That's what I'm saying. Our greatest enemy is Esau. We're allowed to rejoice over his death.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. When it comes to them curses, you have to understand that. Because at the end of the day, once Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14 come to play, ain't gonna be no more death. We're not gonna die no more. So what is this talking about? Under the curses, we all died until Yahawashi did what he did and conquered death.
That's right.
You see? So that's what I'm saying. When the news came out about Elder High Priest Arya, you had men that paid reverence and you had men that took shots. Israelites that took shots.
Yep.
But read it again, bro.
Kind. In Sirach chapter 8, verse 7, it says, rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we die all.
Come on now. And the way that Sakari took their shots at the elder high priest, how was he your enemy? You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you wasn't even born. But you got your chest out with your ponytail hanging. Like, come on, bro. Clearly don't understand the scriptures.
God.
Go ahead to the next one.
Yep. Do you want me to go back to that Romans? Do you want any more on that Romans 11?
Oh, no, that was it. I heard you break it down.
Okay. Do we have any on the comment board that you wanted to get? That was all I pretty much had. Was that main point of just the fact that David didn't, he didn't just jump for joy, man, when he found out, that Saul was dead, man. And guess what? Saul wanted him dead. Everybody knew that Saul wanted David dead, to the point where they was telling on David about to Saul about David's whereabouts, just in hopes that they make get on Saul's good side. You know what I'm saying? And then when David found out that Saul was dead, he didn't rejoice. You know what I'm saying? The vengeance is of the Lord's, man. You're not supposed to requite evil towards your neighbor, man. Like that's the fulfillment of love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, they're not talking about your next door Moabite neighbor, you know what I'm saying, or your next door Edomite neighbor that you have that lives next door to you. No, it's talking about your kinsmen according to the flesh, And so,
and another thing people fail to realize, it never said in the scriptures that Saul treated Israel like shit.
Right.
That's why so many people loved him. He had a problem with David.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't take out how he felt about David out on the nation. No. He had his beef with David, and that was the end of it. But as far as fighting for Israel and being cool with the people and all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? He was amongst the prophets at one point.
Mm-hmm.
He got works. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't trust in the Lord fully.
Right.
That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Bro, saying that we already in a new covenant is basically saying you don't trust the Lord.
Yep.
Think about that. We already in a new covenant. Right? Yep. We already in a new covenant. No. The Lord said he got a certain point of time set up to where he's gonna come back. And he don't even know it.
Yep.
You see? Your timeline is off because your coochie hurting.
Man.
Yep. Sitting on the block with an itchy ass coochie talking shit. It's all good though. It's all good. I hope y'all mad. You gonna do what you in your lot to do. We gonna do what we in our lot to do. And at the end, Yahawashi is gonna be the judge. You got something else?
No, Zaquan, that's it. That's all I got. You know, because this chapter we can all just kind of continue. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, yep. Yeah. Now I was gonna say, we can just continue this second half of this chapter on the next lesson. Rawchaa.
Okay, come on, that's what's up. All right. Well, hey, Lord willing, that was edifying. With that, we want to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Akim teaching about the mind wide mop. That's in sincerity and truth. Look, more spirit, less flesh. If you can't pull no edification out of it, don't even bother, man. You know what I'm saying? Because going back and forth, it's all about the doctrine. It's not about our feelings. You know what I'm saying? You can not like us all you want to, and we can not like you. The will of the Lord is going to be fulfilled.
That's right.
You see? So think more spiritual when it comes to these guys and all these other versions of the truth. It's only one. It's only one that's gonna get you out of here, but several will get your ass fucked up. Yep. Keep that in mind, man. Keep that in mind. Teach this truth. Chips gonna fall where they may when we trust in the Lord, man. You see, David trusted the Lord. Saul didn't. Both spirits are here today. Shalom.
Shalom.